All right. So third platform, I know IDC is all over this idea. It's a coming an idea. It's emerging technology. What is third platform? What does it matter to people?
Well, IDC put this concept forward at the beginning of 2014, and they said there is this new confluence of technology trends in the industry that they call the third platform. It's a confluence of social, in other words, the transparency of, widespread communication, instant availability of knowledge, crowd sharing, whatever you might want to call it. Mobile, meaning, mobile devices, computing being in your pocket no matter where you are in the world.
Right.
Analytics, big data, so you can really sift through all this knowledge and data and gain operational insights that you never had to before. You can substitute, analytics for opinion. And then cloud, which is sort of the operational or the computing infrastructure, which gives you the ability to have massive amounts of computing available on demand. They said this confluence, they call it third platform. I've actually heard other people call it SMAC, social, mobile, analytics, and cloud, which you're talking SMAC.
Right.
They said this enables new kinds of applications to be brought to the fore, and the notion, and what was interesting about them was they said, so here's this new technology trend, right? Which is great, and that's what firms, technology analyst firms do. The interesting thing they said was they made a business prediction, and they said based on this new third platform capability, every industry, the top 20 entrants will, a third of them will face significant disruption by either some new entrant coming into the industry or some revitalized. So basically they said, no matter what industry you're in, somebody's going to come after you with this third platform. And so your choice is, do I sort of gear up to be able to play in that space? Or do I recognize that my business is going to be disrupted? And so that's the third platform.
The interesting thing about that is that a lot of those elements, I mean, they can be very expensive and they can be done at large scale, or a small company that may or may not have enormous resources can also leverage those four things to take on a larger rival. So it's the democratization of technology in many ways.
Well, for sure. Like, we were just talking before we came on, we're using Google Hangouts. This is unbelievable technology. I worked for a company a number of years ago that decided we're going to do video conferencing. We had a number of locations.
Right.
Oh my goodness, it was millions of dollars. And by the way, you could only do it when you went to the special room in the facility, and
Right.
that special room was always booked up. So, and yet Google now provides this thing that we're communicating with however many people are on this thing. We're talking, it's free.
On a desktop, yeah.
And
you're there.
And when I was running my own consultancy a few years ago, I would basically meet and engage with and close business with people I had never met physically because I had this kind of connectivity to them around the world. It's incredible the democratization that this technology comes forward.
Well, you think it's, especially with Amazon Web Services, it's one of the ways, I mean, way back, in 09, 010, 11, there was a lot of smaller companies getting on board with their cloud platform, and suddenly they could rent compute, who needs a data center anymore? And it made them seem like a larger company.
Yeah, well, it's funny. I ran across this company a few years ago called Huddle, HUDL. HUDL. And I had never heard of him, but I saw the guy give a presentation at the Amazon reInvent conference. I'd never heard of him. Didn't know anything about him. He gets up and says, we do football videos. So, you always hear about teams, they watch film and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Well, I had no idea, but they do that down to the high school level. And if you're a high school player, you need to have your what would you call it, your role or your thing that you can show off to a college you want to go to. So this is me making passes or tackles or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, okay, makes perfect sense. Before, it was like an individual assistant coach who would do that. And then it was like, where do you store it and all that? Really trouble. They said, we're going to make a kind of a service to do that, a SaaS service to do it. Again, I'd never heard of them, didn't know anything about them. The guy says, yeah, we're a company of, 15 people or something like that. He said, we serve up 600 million videos a month.
Wow.
Massive. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And not only that,
no one's ever heard of.
And this is like a trivial customer for Amazon. And so, the democratization, I think, is a really good point.